Hi everybody, I'm Tim Shore. Welcome to my kitchen. We're here in my South Carolina lake house, and you know Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and there are a few things that you absolutely have to have at Thanksgiving. Obviously it's a turkey, dressing, and cranberry sauce. Now a lot of times you'll see where people take the cranberry sauce right out of the can, and I've never done that. Why? Well, there's just no love in that. You look at it there, it's in a loaf, it's got the rings around it, so you can tell it came out of the can. And what I want to show you is a little recipe here for some cranberry relish that my mother always made. And since I've had my own family, we do it every year too, and it's really good. It's really easy to do, and I'm going to show you now. I've sort of already prepared the ingredients. This is what really makes it flavorful and aromatic. This is a combination, and I've mixed it all together for convenience sake. And I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget anything. This is combined together about a cup of light brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now on things like this, as you make it and you taste it, you can make notations on your recipe because you might want a little bit more cinnamon or a little bit less ginger or something like that. So keep this in mind. So it's 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then 1/4 cup of one or the other, or a combination of nutmeg and allspice. They go together real well. They complement one another, but you can use them independently. If let's say nutmeg, if you don't exactly like that little pungent taste of nutmeg, then you can use just the allspice. But I use a combination, but not very much. About 1/4 teaspoon of that stuff, and then just a pinch of ground clove, and that's another very strong flavor, so you want to be careful with that. And then I put just a pinch of ginger, and the same thing goes for that. So once again, it's a cup of light brown sugar, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, about 1/4 teaspoon of the nutmeg allspice combination, or whatever suits your taste, and then just a little pinch. And this is almost like optional. I like it because I like that little bit of snap that the ginger gives, but a pinch of clove, ground clove, and just a pinch of ginger, and that's enough. Now, what I've also done is I've taken some fresh pineapple and I've chopped it up. Now you can use it chopped right out of the can. It's available, and that's perfectly okay. I happen to have used a fresh pineapple, but then that's just my choice. Same way with the pecans. You can get the pecans chopped at the store, or you can get them whole, chop them yourself, or of course you can shell them. And these are fairly fresh pecans that I just chopped. So that's all prepared. The main ingredient, the thing that actually makes this what it is the cranberries. Now this is approximately 4 cups. 4 cups will be about a 12-ounce bag. So if you buy it in a bag, it'll be 1 bag, or if you buy it in more of a bulk, it'll be about 4 cups. And in the 4 cups, I have mixed raisins, and I've used about 1/2 cup of white raisins. Now you can use the other kind of raisins, but the white raisins color-wise blend a little bit better. They look a little bit better, and they're not quite as tough as the raisins that are made out of the dark grapes. So about 1/2 cup of those right in the cranberries, and then for the liquid, now that's what you're going to boil the cranberries in. It's a combination of about 3/4 cup of orange juice and about 1/4 cup of apple juice. So in combination, you've got just about a cup of liquid for the 4 cups of cranberries. Okay? I'll run through that one more time very quickly. You've got your dry mix, which is, it is 1 cup of light brown sugar, teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 of a cup of the nutmeg allspice combination we talked about, just a pinch of clove, a pinch of ginger. You've got about a 1/2 cup of chopped or minced pineapple, and about a 1/2 cup chopped walnut, or well, I'm using pecans, but you can use walnuts. Pecans are a little bit milder, and if you were going to use walnuts, I would recommend you use a little bit less than what you'd use of the pecans, but I used a 1/2 cup of that. And then I've got 1 cup of liquid, which is about 3/4 cup of orange juice and about 1/4 cup of apple juice in combination. Okay. Now, what we do is in the liquid, you're gonna bring the liquid up to a boil, along with all these dry ingredients. Now, you don't put the cranberries in immediately. You let this sort of start to marry together, and once this comes up to a boil, you bring it down and let it simmer for just a little bit, and then you add your cranberries. Now, I'll show you that in just a little while, but when you bring this to a simmer and you add your cranberries, you'll let the cranberries stay in that simmering brew for in about 8 to 10 minutes. You'll see them start to pop open, and they'll pop and they'll pop, and that way, and as you stir, it'll become less berry and more of a mash of the cranberries and the raisins, and that'll be the point at which we will just about be finished. The last part that you'll do, and we'll do that after we boil this, but I want to mention it. Then we'll add the pineapple, or we'll stir in the walnut or the pecans, and then we'll add, for just a little bit of kick, we'll add a little bit of red wine. You can use brandy too. And for all of you who are teetotalers or don't drink like me, don't worry, because we'll put it in there hot, and all the alcohol will burn off, and you'll have just that nice flavor. So I'm going to put this over here on the stove and get this going, and by the time I come back, we'll have our cranberry mash, and we'll be ready to wrap this thing up. See you in just a minute. Okay, we're back. Now, what we did while we took that little break is we simmered our cranberry mixture, and that was the cranberries, the raisins, which I'll go through the volumes again. We had 4 cups of cranberries, which is about a 12-ounce bag, and then we had about a 1/2 cup of the white raisins. We mixed those together, and we cooked them in about a cup of fluid, which is made up of about 3/4 of a cup of orange juice and about a 1/4 of a cup of apple juice. We mixed that all together with our dry ingredients, which was comprised of about a cup of light brown sugar, teaspoon of cinnamon, which you can adjust this later on depending on what your taste. If you like it more cinnamony or less, then you can make the adjustment. But I put in about a teaspoon of that, and then about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of a combination of one or the other of nutmeg and allspice, or both, but not very much. About a 1/4 of a teaspoon is enough, because the nutmeg is a very distinctive taste. It plays well with ginger, it plays well with cinnamon, but you don't want to overdo it. And then I put just a little pinch of ground clove and a little pinch of ginger, and that that's what our dry ingredients are made up of. And we have cooked it on the stove for about 8 to 10 minutes. You'll notice that the cranberries start to pop open, and you end up with with it looking like this. It's a beautiful color, this dark burgundy color. Some of the berries haven't quite popped, but they're all soft and cooked. And even the ones that haven't completely opened up will add to the, the sort of festive look of the stuff. Now at this point, you want to add, while it's still hot, you want to add the pecans or the walnuts, which is about, I'm using about, let's see, about a half a cup or so of chopped pecans. A little bit less if you're using chopped walnuts because they're stronger than the pecans. And you want to put this in there into the hot mixture. Now the reason you don't cook that in with the as you're softening and opening the cranberries is because you don't want the nuts to actually cook. You want them to still have a little bit of crunch to them. And you just mix those in there like that. And then lastly, while it's still very hot, you put in, now this is kind of optional really. You can, this just adds a little bit of flavor to it. This happens to be a Cabernet, red wine. You could use brandy or anything like that. I'm putting in about 1/4 of a cup into the hot mix. Now that's for the benefit of all of us who aren't really avid drinkers. Want to stay away from the alcohol, that's fine, because this stuff is so hot it'll burn the alcohol content off, and you'll be left with just a hint of that nice rich wine flavor. So it looks so much better than that stuff that you squirt out of a can, let me tell you. And people look at it and they know that you care. So it's all good. Now I want to put that into our bowl, because you want to cover this after you let it cool. Let it sit out and cool to close to room temperature, and then you want to cover it. You don't want to cover it beforehand because it'll sweat. So you want to put it in the bowl, and like so. And this will be your serving bowl too, so it'll congeal once refrigerated. So here we go. And you let that, there we go. Now, let it cool, and once it reaches about room temperature, cover it, put it in the refrigerator, let it congeal, and then it'll be ready to serve. And I'm telling you what, it'll be the best thing you ever put in your mouth, along with a piece of turkey. Now, as an added little something, just for a little bit of zing and to make it look a little bit more festive, we add a little bit of zest. And if you haven't done that before, get you one of these things. It's just like a little miniature grater, and then you want to take just the top of the orange peel off, like so. And it puts a little dusting of the orange peel, and it's very aromatic, and it gives it a little bit of color too. Just like that. And there you go. That's what you got. Let me tell you something. I've had it in my family as almost like a family tradition ever since I was a little boy. And I always look forward to it. I tell you what, it's so good you could eat it with a spoon. So I hope you enjoy that. Give it a try, and I think it'll add to your Thanksgiving festivities. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you again soon with another project. Bye for now.